Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back, friends. So in this another class and lecture for business vocabulary, we'll continue with developing vocabulary and look at other important aspects of business English. Jargon, cliches, weasel. Now look at these three terms: jargon, cliches and weasel words. What are those? I'll explain in a moment. We'll also look at collocations. What is collocation? Just as a warm up exercise, let me give you an example. You take two words, cash and crunch. So you can say cash crunch. I am going through a cash crunch. I am going through some kind of a financial crunch. But I can't say payment crunch. Therefore, I have put a question mark. So collocation is where how one word would collocate or go along with the other word. So payment and crunch, remember this way, these two words, they do not get along with each other, so they won't collocate. But there are words which go beautifully along with each other, so therefore we say they collocate. Apart from doing several exercises, we are going to look at jargon, cliches and weasel words, and then here are some pointers that I will ask you to make a note of while writing and while using vocabulary in your day-to-day speech, particularly in workplace and academic purposes. So what are jargons? Now remember, jargons and cliches are those tired expressions that we are sick of hearing. For example, in the pink of health. So I have given you example, pink of health. This is jargon. Dear Sally, I hope this letter finds you in the pink of health. This pink of health has been used so often as a way of, as a mark of opening a letter, that it has become a cliche, a jargon. None of us would use it, and most of us would avoid using it in good writing. So this is not very elegant expression anymore. Remember, the target of communication is to convey information with clarity and brevity. You're communicating, you're not writing a novel here, you're not writing a literary essay here. Remember those things. So therefore it has to be very clear. Communication should be clear. Often one tries to impress the readers or audiences with usage of verbal flourishes and words that do not really add to one's content. Especially in business and technical communication, you need to be clear and concise. Nobody is looking for flowery language here, because information is the king here. In order to avoid jargon, you have to use words with great wisdom. Choose words with great wisdom. Avoid cliches, which are overused words and phrases. Weasels are those words which are misleading and ambiguous. We will give you examples soon, so try to avoid weasel words also. When you use too much of cliche or weasel kinds of words, your writing automatically or your speech automatically becomes very difficult to understand. I will give you an example here. Look at the slide. At the end of the day, while there are two sides to every coin, fulfilling stakeholder outcomes, cultural diversities and synergy savings can help the company in enhancing deep customer engagement. Indeed, moving forward, such change will substantially grow the value pool. Now look at the second sentence, two sides to every coin. Now this is an expression that has been used to death. So avoid using this overused cliche. Now look at this. One way could be of writing this. Look at this solved example. There are many ways to think about improving company performance. The guiding motives of these changes are meeting all the needs of customers, using the diverse talents of employees and making cost savings wherever possible. Initiatives taken with this in mind will augment the organization's core values. So, this is one way of doing the earlier passage. Look at this again. At the end of the day, see, this is also quite an overuse or over cliched kind of an expression. Two sides to every coin, fulfilling stakeholders, cultural diversity, synergy, savings, etc. Okay, so look at this and see how this has been rewritten. Initiatives taken with this in mind will augment the organization's core values. Now, language is good, and you can't really find tired expressions, overused expressions here. Remember that this does not mean that you can exclude the use, completely exclude the use of jargon. Some jargon and cliches are always there. For example, in conclusion, to conclude my essay, yeah, these are the things that we use very frequently. And what do we do if if when we want to conclude something? So those are the standard signposts, so cannot be avoided, although they are also overused. But in the pink of health and to drive home the point and two sides of the same coins, these are the terms and expressions that I would suggest that you be careful about, both in your speech as well as in your written communication. One needs to be very particular, one needs to be thoughtful of the audience one communicates with. Also remember that jargon can be helpful when communicating within a specific group, but too much jargon or jargon that is not clearly defined can lead to a very confusing text. I will give you another example, and my question is, think of what are the shortcomings of the paragraphs. Look at this paragraph, look at the slide here. So, rewrite this paragraph in your own words. One needs to take a granular look to the company's position in terms of employee engagement in the context of the bleak financial situation of the economy. Knowledge transfer initiatives need to be thought of while keeping to enhance the core competencies of the company. Disambiguate, that means make it more clear, make it clearer and precise and less ambiguous. Remember, and this is what I would suggest, ask yourself these questions, that what happens to the information when you are rewriting. So, therefore, these are the pointers. Be clear and precise and make sure that you are giving the information just in order to make your writing better. Don't leave out any important specific information. So, be specific, be clear. Remember, you have to ask yourself that does my writing have the right amount of detail in the right format, so that my intended audience would be able to understand. आप किसके लिए लिख रहे हैं, आपका टारगेट ऑडियंस कौन है, क्या वो ये समझ पाएंगे? तो अपने वाक्य, अपने शब्द बहुत ध्यान से आपको बनाने हैं. Clarity and lucidity, those are the things. So, that is what we mean here. No ambiguity, and remember to proofread effectively. I know very often we find certain lapses here and there. For example, a word that is repeated twice, or a word that is misspelt. We are all in a hurry to finish particular task in a particular in a specific time, and therefore we are not able to focus on these small but very important details, so proofread. Remember that your format and your structure should help the reader and stay true to the intended message. Now, look at this vocabulary. Here, look at this slide. The other day I showed you a word like deficit, and this is your today's exercise that I would want you to do. Look at the slide here. Look at the words. These are the words that you may come across very frequently in your reading, as well as you may be expected to use them in your oral and written presentation and communication. Disambiguate. Look at the slide. Employee engagement, knowledge transfer, recession, retention, stakeholder synergy. These words were not so popular, let's say 2 decades ago, but in the last 15 or 20 years, particularly in the last decade or so, these words have become extremely popular. Knowledge transfer, knowledge economy, globalization, recession. So, these are the words that we keep coming across, and we should be very particular about how to use them, careful about how to use them. What are these words? Nouns, adjectives, adverbs, what are they? So, you have to be careful, and you should also be able to change the categories of the words. Think of the antonyms or opposites of these words. So, create vocabulary notes for the words. This is a self-help kind of an exercise, do it yourself kind of an exercise. Now, let us move on to another exercise and read the passage carefully. Recent research at business schools in the USA has shown that traditional management styles are rapidly becoming obsolete. In the traditional model, senior management exercises its dash to ensure that decisions are carried out by dash at lower levels of the company. Dash, however, in today's rapidly evolving business environment, it has become clear that dash is something that all managers will have to live with and adapt to. It's continued. In the modern digital organization, dash is no longer restricted to senior managers, and employees are not expected to blindly dash orders from above. Because of the increasing complexity of business, managers have had to dash tasks to people at lower levels and to dash them to take necessary decisions. It has become a system where what you achieve, in other words, your dash is what determined not only the respect that other people in the organization have for you, but also how you are dash for the work that you accomplish. And these are the words that you have to use. Quite a complicated exercise. You may not necessarily have to use all these words. After all, you are given only a limited number of blanks. Make sure what are you trying to use, what you are expected to use. I will take you back to the exercise. In the next slide, and your choices of words. This is your exercise, and you have to do it yourself. See how these words are going together, how they are collocating. So, this is one warm up exercise towards collocation. I won't give you solution to each and every exercise, because there are some things that you have to do yourself as well. Now, coming to collocation that we started with today, collocation helps in building vocabulary. Remember, vocabulary and words don't just exist in isolation. Words get along, move along with each other. Think of groups or a group of words that can be used together while speaking or writing. For example, we always say management studies, knowledge transfer, knowledge economy, global resources, human development, human resources, customer care, customer service, sales executive, sales team. We say human resources, we say environmental resources, okay, but just try to collocate resources with some other word and see if that works well or not. So, if we do not collocate properly, appropriately, then it may be a problem. When words go together, this practice is called collocation. Collocations can help you, your language become more interesting, more elegant, more natural and understandable. It also gives you a good way to express concepts. Collocations also, remember, have different grammatical structures. When we are doing grammar, then we will talk about collocation and their grammatical structures. So, we have compound nouns coming together, we have adjectives and verbs coming together. So, collocations exist in all forms and all manners. Sometimes you may feel that words may combine to make just one word, as in, let us say, landmark or trademark. So, we do not break landmark and trademark, they are one single word, but we often say signature style, right. This is the signature style of this essay. So, if of this writer, or this filmmaker, or this manager, signature style. It is not the way you sign or do your signature. Signature style is the way you work, something, the way you create or the way you behave, which is so peculiar to you that it becomes your trademark, your signature style. So, trademark is one word, signature style is two words, but they collocate. Landmark collocates. You do not say signature mark, you do not say land style. You get the point. So, you say signature style, you say trademark, you say landmark, you say output, you do not say, or input, yeah. So, you do not say in and put, those are one words. So, remember how words collocate. Now, here is another exercise for you, look at it, look at the slide here. Match the verbs on the left with nouns on the right to form common banking collocations. Open, purchase, earn, make, withdraw, pay, transfer, download. Interest, bills, funds, an account, a deposit, financial data, cash, goods. You withdraw cash, you open an account, right? I am giving you examples. So, see how you collocate different words. You pay bills, you earn interest. Look at the second exercise for this. Replace the words in italics with expressions from the words which you have already formed in the previous exercise, in the exercise above, that is the previous exercises. First, the Pro Bank card allows you to dash, take out the money from cash points around the world. So, what word are you going, what expression or what collocation are you going to use in this blank? Second, with Pro Bank you can dash, receive a percentage on your account, current account balance. So, receive a percentage, how to replace. Third, just fill out and return the application form or call a Pro Bank representative to dash set up a banking arrangement. Next, you can dash put money into your account at Pro Bank branches and CityCard banking centers. Next one, online banking services let you dash move money from one account to another quickly and easily. Next one, all you need is an internet connection to dash transfer account information onto your electronic devices. Number 7, using your phone, Prophone banking lets you dash settle invoices from wherever you are at a touch of your finger. Number 8, the ProBank Euro account allows you to dash buy products in local currencies without paying any exchange rates. And now moving on to the next exercise, combine words from column A with column B. Department, shopping, sales, retail, special, bargain, stock. Column B, hunters, pitch, stores, chains, offers, centers, turnover. How do you combine and collocate? Take a moment and look at this slide carefully. Can you say department hunters, for example? But can you say department chains? Would it be appropriate? Can you say special pitch? And can you say special offers? How does it work? This is what we are trying to do here, giving you some taste of collocation. Now, here next exercise, match these words with their definitions. Not its, but their definitions is whatever we have done. A persuasive argument to sell a product, the rate at which goods are sold, sales promotions to attract customers, shops with outlet in many locations, customers who seek the lowest price, large shops usually located in city centers which sell a variety of products, retail facilities where customers have access to different stores in the same location. And next one, match the words and expressions in the box with the headings given. Headings are those which are given in red, and box is these words that are given in that columns and rows. So, losses, security, jump, equities, gains, regulators, retreat, dividends, climb, tumble, bonds, plunge, surge, shareholders, brokers, shares, analysts, closing price, share price, price earnings ratio. How would you give headings to each of these columns? Okay, and your next exercise, match and complete the phrases. Note how phrases given below are situated in the context of meaning. Has anyone received? To dissolve the disagreement, let us take, and you have to complete it from the next column. I hope you understand the exercise here. Could we begin by reviewing? Do give out this. That is an interesting point, but I think we are getting, and then you have to collocate with sidetracked, the agenda of the meeting, a vote, a copy of the minutes of the last meeting, handout. How do we collocate? How do we complete the two columns? So, answers, first one is we have already seen the very first exercise that we did. 1 authority, 2 subordinates, 3 hierarchy, number 4 is change, number 5 decision making, number 6 obey, number 7 delegate, number 8 empower, number 9 performance, number 10 is rewarded. Answers to exercise 2.3.2. First expression, withdraw cash, earn interest, open an account, download financial data, make a deposit, purchase goods, transfer funds and pay bills. And next exercise 2.3.3, withdraw cash, earn interest, open an account, make a deposit, transfer funds, download financial data, pay bills, purchase goods. Answers to the next exercise, sales pitch, stock turnover, special offers, retail chains, bargain hunters, department stores, shopping centers. The match the column kind of exercise. Next one, poor performance is losses. This is a headings and columns. Losses, tumble, retreat, plunge. Good performance, gain, surge, jump, climb. Financial products, securities, equities, shares, bonds. People involved in the stock market, analysts, regulators, shareholders, brokers. Financial data, closing price, share price, price earnings ratio, dividends. And then The last one, has anyone received a copy of the minutes of the last meeting? That's the way these columns are matched. To dissolve the agreement, let us take a vote. That's the answer. Could we begin by reviewing the agenda of the meeting? Do give out this handout. We generally give out handouts. That is an interesting point, but I think we are getting sidetracked. So, in business and official setups, can you think of any more sentences and expressions that you can use in real time situations, in real time, in real workplace? And before we wind up, use the following words. Look at the slide here, and these words are becoming very common and popular. Look at them, look at the slide carefully. Use the words, find the meanings of these words and see if you can use them in your everyday expression, in your written expression. Ecological, things like terms like global warming, environmental concerns, corporate responsibility, they are becoming very popular and famous. So, use all the words that are related to ecology. At least you should be able to have intelligent conversations around these very happening kinds of terms. Then approximately, when do you use approximately? When you cannot be very certain. So, approximately always comes to your help or to your aid, because you do not know the exact numbers or amount. Then proportion, uplift, bankruptcy, modernity, simplicity, these are the words that you should be able to use the following words. And now I am going to show you this passage and where you are supposed to, how you are supposed to use these words in the blanks. So, first you know these words, use the following words, and now use the words in the blanks that come in the exercise next exercise. This is a passage about downshifters. Now, downshifters are people who adopt long-term voluntary dash in their life. They accept less money through fewer hours worked in order to have time for the important things in life. Downshifters also place emphasis on consuming less in order to reduce their dash footprint. There are two primary aspects to downshifting. One is about connection to life, family, food, place, and the other is about maintaining a healthy balance in the personal work, family, spiritual, physical and social aspects of their life. Research has shown that people in the US, and it would be similar for other Western countries, have dash 5 hours more free time per week than they had 30 years ago. Thanks to dash, we perform less housework, we have fewer children, and we are retiring earlier, but we are busier than ever before. Although we have more free time, a large dash of that time is spent watching television, and the remainder of our free time is spent in leisure obligations. These leisure obligations take the place of traditional sources of meanings in our lives, such as religious traditions, community, etc. Leisure is now a means to an end, not undertaken for its own sake. Our leisure obligations are for a purpose, fitness, socializing, or fulfilling expectations. Basically, downshifters seek a life filled with more passion and purpose, meaning, fulfillment and happiness, a life to look back on with no regrets. Downshifters want to slow down at work in order to dash in other areas of their lives. For most people, the change to a slow life through downshifting comes after a long quest for true happiness and fulfillment. For others, it may come after a significant life event such as severe illness, relationship breakup, dash, or the death of someone close. So, this is the source given to you, reference, and this passage is about downshifters, people who voluntarily choose a slower way of life, not because they can't do any better, but they choose it because they have something else to do or something better to do. And I have already given you the list of words. I hope you look up those words and their meanings, their collocations and see how they are used. So, look at the solution here. I have highlighted the blanks here for you. Look at the passage here. I will read out to you. Downshifters are people who adopt long-term voluntary simplicity in their life. They accept less money through fewer hours worked in order to have time for the important things in life. Downshifters also place emphasis on consuming less in order to reduce their ecological footprint. There are two primary aspects to downshifting. One is about connection to life, family, food, place, and the other is about maintaining a healthy balance in the personal, work, family, spiritual, physical and social aspects of their life. Research has shown that people in the US, and it would be similar for other Western countries, have approximately 5 hours more free time per week than they had 30 years ago. Thanks to modernity, we perform less housework, we have fewer children, and we are retiring earlier. But we are busier than ever before. Although we have more free time, a large proportion of that time is spent watching television, and the remainder of our free time is spent in leisure obligations. These leisure obligations take the place of traditional sources of meaning in our lives, such as religious traditions, community, etc. Leisure is now a means to an end, not undertaken for its own sake. Our leisure obligations are for a purpose: fitness, socializing, or fulfilling expectations. Thank you very much.